Well, hello there and welcome to this episode of the Terri Show that I want to start with a question. Do you come back from your vacation and feel like you need a vacation from your vacation? Be honest. Well, if you're nodding your head yes, then this episode is for you because I'm going to be talking about how to actually go on vacation and come back feeling rested and restored instead of frazzled and exhausted. So, before we get into it today, my name is Terri Cole. And if you're new to my channel, introduce yourself in the comments because we are a friendly group of people. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so that you don't miss anything when we roll out new stuff, which is every Tuesday and every Thursday. So I love to highlight your comments and the things that you say and your questions. So today I'm highlighting something from Dar under the episode, Don't Get Sucked Into Conflict, 11 Tips to Handle Difficult People. This topic describes my exact painful experience with my now former partner, yet until I found Terri, I had little knowledge of codependency and boundaries. I participated in every course Terri offered, every workshop, and carefully listened to her videos since January 2020 to get where I am today. The first and quite intentionally the only online education I've engaged with as I identify the quality of Terri's work right away. Along with therapy, I can hear Terri's videos with this particular content and understand exactly the dance that was occurring, continue to bring healing and further explore how to stay in my lane and avoid the over-responsibility trap with friends and family. This video cements how to handle boundary bullies that I may come across in the future. Well, thanks, Dar, for taking the time. You know I super duper appreciate you. All right, so let's move it into today's content. All right, so I'm going to tell you a quick story about me. Before the last, let's be honest, 5 years. All right, maybe a little bit more. I would go on vacation and I would still talk to clients. I would go on vacation and I would overpack the time that I was free. And then I would literally get up at like 7 a.m. when everyone else was sleeping, go outside. I would always have somewhere where there was a deck. And I would literally this was before everyone was doing everything on Zoom, but I would do phone sessions with clients. And I have to say, that was not very relaxing and it never entered my mind, honestly, that I could not work when I was away. And I know, listen, you guys know, I've struggled with workaholism and constantly being productive and all the things, but this was something that I always wondered why I came back from vacations being exhausted. I think I understand why now. Because if you are working, it's not a vacation. That's it. So if you are working, it's not a vacation. And I want you to think about it. Do you do that as well? Think about how much you are on vacation. For me, I think that why I wanted to do an episode on this for you is I figured if I struggled with this in my life, that other people must. Vic and I have a friend who's an artist like Vic is, an illustrator. And on vacation, he draws all the time, but a lot of times he's actually working. Now, when Vic and I are on vacation, he always brings paint. He's always creating art. But when we're on vacation, he's creating art for himself, for us, like for actual pleasure of doing it, not because he has a deadline or not because he owes something to someone else. And I think that that's different because if it's something that you're passionate about and it brings you joy and it's transportive, that's a different mindset because he's actually enjoying it, right? He's doing it for himself. And what I love about that is that then all over my house, I have all of these visual documentation of the trips that we've taken together, which is beautiful. He does huge paintings of them or pen and ink stuff. It's fascinating being married to an artist, just saying. So what does it really take to make the shift to enjoying vacations if you have them, even if they're staycations, right? Even if you're not going anywhere. Better time boundaries, both internally and externally, and putting a support in place, a support system. This is what I had to do to help me actually take time off to fill my bucket and truly unplug. So if you struggle with this, trust me, you're not alone. I'm going to tell you how to do it. I'm going to put all of this information for you in the guide, terricole.com/guide. You will literally be able to go down the list of things that you can do to protect, to safeguard your time when you're traveling or when you're home, but not supposed to be working, as sacred. because it's something that we all need. And if you think about how we are in this country, we barely have time off. Maybe people take a week, a year, maybe 2. And if you look at, there are so many other cultures, especially in Europe, where people take an entire month off. When you hear this whole thing about therapists, everyone thinks that therapists take the month of August off in this country. But I never did. I never got on board with that. And it's something that makes sense. Like, it's such a scarcity mindset to be away but be working. And there's a compulsive element, at least there was for me, in being so uncomfortable with not doing something. So technology is one part of it, right? Because it used to be that, if you went to an office, you'd be like, okay, there was a lot of boundaries put in place because of the culture of working at an office. But then smartphones, you can access your stuff 24/7. So if we don't put the internal boundaries around technology, we could just be online all the time, tempted to just, check the email one more time. I don't want you checking email at all while you're on vacation. So that's one thing, is getting really clear about your email. And I'll give you at the end, I'm going to give you sort of what you can exactly do, but what are the things that create this need to work while we're away? I mean, perfectionism is definitely one of them, right? If you lean towards overachieving, it's likely that you have trouble taking time off because it seems wasted. I mean, I have to say, Vic is very much like this. His whole life is about how productive he was that day. I mean, he's better now, 25 years into a relationship with me, where I'm like, sometimes doing nothing is doing something. Sometimes laying in bed on a Sunday for 3 hours talking, shooting the shit and drinking coffee and reading the New York Times together, that is something, because it's not just about productivity. It's about connection. It's about relationships. It's about how you feel. It's about allowing yourself to rest when you're tired and when you need to rest. So perfectionism is definitely there. And high-functioning codependency can also influence it, right? You feel overly responsible for everyone else's experience, especially if you're on vacation, especially if you've planned it all. So it's almost like you can just keep in that role of overgiving and overfunctioning. So even if you're supposed to be off, you can sort of apply the HFC qualities to the vacation itself, right? There's always some sense of urgency to get it right. And it's absolutely exhausting to do that. Let's get to what you can do. Avoid overbooking and overscheduling on vacation. Because some people take a vacation like that's their job. And again, even if it's exciting, you've got to build in time to actually rest. Because overbooking, it just becomes another box to check. Like, we need to see all the things. You don't. You need to have an experience, but you also need to rest. Before you leave, and this was an absolute game changer for me, is setting up away messages. Again, I literally, and this, or maybe more like 10 years ago, but I never thought of doing that. I never thought that was a possibility. I never thought that was okay to do it. And partly because when you're a therapist and when I had an active practice, you want to be available if someone needs you. But then I realized that many other therapists, and someone who I went to when I needed help and when I needed to understand what I should be doing in my practice, a supervisor, someone that I paid myself, she would have an away message and she would have another therapist covering for her. So that was another idea that I started getting, that I could actually not be on my phone the entire time. I could say, if it's an emergency, call 911 or contact this person who's covering, just like a doctor would. So an away message. So if that's on your Gmail, that's everywhere, where it's like, let people know when you'll be back and back in action. You don't need to be available. And the thing is, before the away message came into my consciousness as something that was possible, I couldn't stand the thought of people thinking I wasn't getting back to them. There was so much hypervigilance around that for me, that the away message, and then when I was writing a book, I had an away message for months. That was like, hello, I'm in a writing cave. And because I couldn't have the pressure of writing the book and feeling like I needed to get back to people at the same time. Another idea when you're away is really taking a break from screens. Like actually, most of us use our phones as our cameras, unless you're actually a real photographer. So, but you can have it on airplane mode or whatever. You can also take apps off your phone while you're away. You can easily just delete them and then re-put them in when you get home. So really think about what that might look like for you, because our brain needs a break from all of this distraction. And hopefully when you're away, you want to be present where you are. Be in the moment. You don't need to be checking Instagram. It doesn't matter. You can have an away thing on Instagram that says like, gone fishing, be back in a week. People take breaks from social media all the time. And you can too. And if you're a business that sort of relies on social media, you can, what we did last year, I think, is we put up like a week worth of the best of 2022, right? Our best performing stuff, and started conversations that way. I kept it going, but people knew I was away. And so I feel like if you can really make a decision, give yourself permission to unplug and give your brain and your nervous system a vacation too, because we really need it. And in a real way, the stepping back from social media is an actual decision that you have to make, especially if you have a business where you use social media. So it's okay. Even if you have a personal brand, it's okay to step back or to pre-plan something that does not require you to be active on social media. It's really important. And remember, prioritize self-care, you guys, right? Your vacation is meant rest, rejuvenation, spending quality time, hopefully with people or alone if you're taking a solo vacation. Prioritize self-care activities. Maybe get a massage, things that help you unwind, relax, allow yourself to sleep in if that's something you don't normally do, and if that would feel good for you to, I mean, I know we can't technically catch up on sleep, but just sleeping, just letting yourself not be on a super early schedule if that's something that you normally are. Just give yourself a break. This is supposed to be a self-nurturing time. And listen, unless you're taking a vacation that's a super adventure vacation, and there's nothing wrong with that either. That may feed your soul and your spirit, but it's not going to do that much for your nervous system, you know? So I guess it depends on what it is that you need for you. For me, by the time I'm going on a vacation, I endlessly need self-nourishment and a break and rest and relaxation and laziness, because it's stuff that I don't do that much in my actual waking life. I think it's super helpful also to let others know in advance. So you're setting expectations and boundaries with people in your life before you go off the grid. Because again, for years, and I still feel a pull to be in touch with my sisters and my mother while I'm away. And, you know, that's not on them. That's not their expectation. You guys, that's on me. That's what I think. I mean, my mother's 85. She's going to be 86 in October. And I just feel like it's hard to be away. I mean, I definitely talk to her at least once, no matter where I am. And I think if it's just once, it's okay. I don't need to do it every day. But when I was in my 20s, I would talk to people in my life the same way I would when I was home, when I was on vacation, which doesn't make sense. And that's such high-functioning codependency. It's off the hook. That's completely unnecessary. And I'm sure they were like, why the hell is she calling me from her damn vacation, you know? But I felt like I had to. I felt obligated. I felt like I should. I felt like I should check in with them and how they're doing, you know? Anyway, let people know in advance you're not going to be doing that, and that you'll be in touch with them when you get back. Another thing is really asserting yourself and planning a vacation that feels good to you. And if you've never taken a solo vacation, and listen, not everyone's in a position to do so, but there's something really beautiful about spending time alone. And for me, because I talk so much for a living, if I'm alone, even if it's just for like 2 or 3 days, how nice it feels to not have to make conversation, to not be talking. It's tiring talking as much as I talk, you guys. I mean, listen, I love what I do, but it's true. So there's something beautiful about planning a vacation that is aligned with how you want to feel and what you need. And if other people are like, well, why can't we do this or why can't we do that? You're like, it's my vacation too. So assert yourself so that you're spending time doing what it is that you need to really fill up your own cup when you're on vacation. I want you to commit to sort of shifting your mindset from that always on mode, if that is your mode, to relaxation mode, expansion, allowing, maybe doing some journaling while you're there, if that feels good. Not if it doesn't, but if it does. Short meditation practice. Do a nature meditation. You can do a walking meditation or counting meditation when you're out in nature. Like, get your feet, if you're at the beach, in the sand. Watch the sunrise. Watch the sunset. Things that maybe you don't normally do that really can nourish your soul in a different way, right? Let yourself take a nap. Some people are nappers, some people aren't, but imagine just taking a nap in the middle of the day. How would that feel? Because again, sometimes doing nothing is really, really doing something and restoring your vitality. It's funny, when I went on my honeymoon with Vic, it's like, because I love to learn things and I love culture, but I knew that on my honeymoon, I did not want to learn anything except about my husband. Like, we actually planned a trip, which was a spa hopping trip up the coast of California, Pacific Coast Highway 1. Absolutely beautiful. Went all the way up into the redwoods, like stayed at the most decadent places. And, we did the things we love to do, but I knew that unless I planned a honeymoon that was focused on rest, restore, fooling around and eating great food, because that was literally all I wanted to do, and hiking and walking and the things we love to do, that we would end up being overscheduled. Because Vic is like me. He'd be like, well, we should really go see that church if we're in Italy, you know what I mean? Or that museum. And I was like, I don't want to do any of that. I want to rest, sleep, have sex, and eat amazing food. That's pretty much it, which is pretty much exactly what we did. I loved that vacation and that honeymoon so much. I would highly recommend it if you're going on a honeymoon. Do something. For me, being at spas of any kind, it just feels so incredibly good to have the only focus being on what massage am I getting today, Anyway, I'm curious to see how this lands for you. Let me know, are you a working on vacation type person? Are you willing to take this challenge and think about not working at all on your next vacation? What would that feel like? What would that be like? And if you've mastered the art of not working on vacation, I'd love to hear about that as well. Don't forget to check out the guide. I put all the information you need to know. It's terricole.com/guide. I hope you guys have the most amazing week. And as always, take care of you.